Right now, a massive wall of Arctic air is crashing south toward every single province in Canada, and most people have no idea how bad the next 2 weeks are about to get. This is not your typical February cold snap. The polar vortex, that spinning mass of freezing air normally locked above the North Pole, has just collapsed. It has split apart. And when that happens, temperatures do not just drop, they plummet. We are talking wind chills hitting minus 50 degrees Celsius in some cities, frostbite in under 2 minutes, and a storm track that could bury parts of eastern Canada under half a meter of snow in a single event. But here is what nobody is telling you. There is a second force at play that makes this situation even more dangerous. I will reveal exactly what that is in just a moment, and trust me, it changes everything about how the next 2 weeks will unfold. If you live anywhere in Canada, you need to hear this. Now, before I break down the timing city by city, drop a comment right now telling me where you are watching from. Your city, your province. I read every single comment, and I will personally respond with what to expect in your specific area. Whether you are in Vancouver, Winnipeg, Toronto, Halifax, or anywhere in between, tell me your location and I will get you your forecast. Here is what I'm going to do for you today. In the next few minutes, I am walking you through the exact timing of when this Arctic blast hits your region, when it peaks, and when you finally get relief. I am covering major cities coast to coast, and stay with me until the 5-minute mark, because that is where I am going to reveal the one date in late February that could bring the most dangerous travel conditions Canada has seen all winter. If you have a family day road trip planned, you absolutely cannot miss that part. So let us start with the hidden second force I mentioned. La Nina, the cooling pattern in the Pacific Ocean that has been steering our weather all season, is fading. Canada is shifting into what meteorologists call ENSO, neutral conditions. What does that mean for you? It means the jet stream has lost its leash. Cold Arctic air now has a wide open highway straight into the heart of Canada, and when that frigid air slams into moisture from the south, it creates monster storm systems. The polar vortex collapse plus the La Nina fade together is a combination we have not seen in years, and it is happening right now. Let me take you city by city, and here is something that might surprise you about where we start. Vancouver. You would think the West Coast gets a pass, right? Mild temperatures, a little rain, no big deal. Daytime highs around 5 degrees Celsius, overnight lows around 2 degrees, practically tropical by Canadian standards. But here is the twist. That collapsing polar vortex is pushing cold air inland, and it is creeping towards sea level. When Pacific moisture meets that cold air at the surface, Vancouver does not get rain, it gets snow, and we all know what happens when Vancouver gets snow. A few centimeters shuts down the entire city. The Lions Gate Bridge, the Alex Fraser Bridge, absolute gridlock from the North Shore to Surrey. British Columbia ferries sailings to the island get delayed or cancelled. The storm window opens around mid-February and could deliver multiple snow events through the back half of the month. Sunshine? Maybe 3 to 4 hours a day if you are lucky. The rest of the time, it is that classic West Coast gray. Low cloud, drizzle, the kind of weather that makes you appreciate a good raincoat and a strong cup of coffee. But on those rare clear days, when the sun breaks through and the snow-capped North Shore mountains glow against a blue sky, there is honestly nowhere more beautiful in the country. And if you are driving through the British Columbia interior, listen carefully. The Coquihalla, Rogers Pass, Kicking Horse Pass, these mountain routes can go from clear to complete whiteout in under an hour. Heavy snowfall near zero visibility, black ice, avalanche risk, carry chains, check Drive BC before you leave. If the advisory says do not travel, please do not travel. It is not worth it. Now let us head east to the prairies, and folks, this is where winter gets serious. Calgary. Daytime highs around minus 4 degrees Celsius, overnight lows around minus 13. But those are just the averages. With the polar vortex collapse, Calgary could easily see nights plunging to minus 25 or minus 30 degrees. Factor in the wind chill, and it feels like minus 40 or worse. Now, Calgary usually has a secret weapon, Chinook winds, those warm gusts that roar down off the Rockies and can spike temperatures by 20 or even 30 degrees in a matter of hours. But here is the bad news. In a disrupted polar vortex pattern, the jet stream shifts south, and Chinook conditions become far less likely. Calgarians may not get their usual warm rescue this time around. Edmonton. one of the coldest major cities on the planet. Daytime highs around -6 degrees, overnight lows around -14, but extremes of -30 to -35 are very much on the table. Edmonton sits at a higher latitude, meaning shorter days, longer nights, and more time for that cold to dig in deep. The storm peak hits mid to late February, with the worst cold settling in around the 15th through the 20th. But here is the silver lining. By mid-February, Edmonton is getting about 10 hours of daylight. Every day adds a couple more minutes of light. After the darkness of December and January, that extra sunlight is a genuine mood lifter. Do not skip the next section. If you are in Saskatchewan or Manitoba, what I am about to tell you could literally save your life. Regina and Saskatoon. Daytime highs around -8 to -10 degrees Celsius in Regina. Saskatoon, a touch colder, overnight lows dropping to -18 to -22. But the real danger here is not the temperature. It is the wind. The Saskatchewan Prairie has nothing to stop it. That wind screams across flat open fields and drives the wind chill to levels where exposed skin gets frostbitten in minutes, and it creates blowing snow conditions that turn highways into absolute whiteouts. You cannot see the road. You cannot see the horizon. Some of the worst multi-vehicle pileups in Canadian history have happened in prairie whiteouts. When Environment Canada issues a blowing snow advisory, take it seriously. Winnipeg, Winterpeg, the city that has earned that nickname 100 times over. Daytime highs around -10 to -12 degrees, overnight lows plunging to -20 to -24. Wind chill values of -40 to -50 are not uncommon. At those levels, you need to limit your time outdoors to minutes, not hours. The Arctic blast peaks here around February 14th through the 18th. But Winnipeggers are tough. The Forks, where the Red River meets the Assiniboine, becomes one of the world's longest naturally frozen skating trails. Mid-February, the ice is rock solid. Now here is where I deliver on my promise. The date you need to circle on your calendar. Family Day falls on Monday, February 16th, and it is observed in Ontario, Alberta, Saskatchewan, British Columbia, and several other provinces. Millions of Canadians will be hitting the road, and this is exactly when the polar vortex collapse delivers its most dangerous punch. The Ontario to Quebec corridor, Highway 401 and Autoroute 20, the busiest stretch of highway in the country, faces snow, freezing rain, and treacherous road conditions. On the prairies, the Trans-Canada faces extreme cold, blowing snow, and rapid visibility collapses. In British Columbia, mountain highways can go from clear to impassable in hours. If you are planning a family day road trip, here is your survival checklist. Check the forecast before you leave. Pack a winter emergency kit in your vehicle. Blanket, flashlight, snacks, water, shovel, phone charger, a candle, and matches. And if conditions are truly awful, postpone. No destination is worth risking your family's safety. Let me keep moving east because Ontario and Quebec are about to get hammered. Toronto, Canada's largest city, over 6 million people in the metro area. This past January already set the record for the snowiest January ever recorded at Pearson Airport, and mid-February is showing no signs of letting up. Daytime highs hover right around the freezing mark, -0.6 degrees. Overnight lows drop to -8 degrees. The coldest day typically falls around February 13th, when temps can dip to -10.3. Lake Ontario makes things worse. Cold Arctic air sweeps across the warmer lake water, picks up moisture, and dumps heavy lake-effect snow on the city. The TTC takes a beating during heavy snow events. Streetcars get stuck, buses run late, and the 401, North America's busiest highway, becomes an absolute nightmare. The storm window for Toronto runs from mid to late February, with the heaviest snow risk between the 14th and the 22nd. Ottawa. The nation's capital sits in a river valley that acts like a funnel for Arctic air. Daytime highs of only -4 degrees, overnight lows dropping to -15. That is the kind of cold that demands full winter gear every single time you step outside. Heavy parka, toque, gloves, scarf, insulated waterproof boots. The Rideau Canal, the world's longest skating rink, is in prime condition right now with thick, stable ice. But that wind whipping down the canal cuts right through you. A beaver tail pastry and a hot chocolate at one of the concession stands along the way, that is the quintessential Rideau Canal experience. Ottawa typically sees about 12 days with rain or snow in February, with around 58 millimeters of precipitation, most of it falling as snow. The Highway 401 and Autoroute 20 corridor connecting Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal is one of Canada's most critical transportation arteries, and mid-February is when it is most vulnerable to dangerous freezing rain. Prairie, sitting on the shore of Lake Simcoe north of Toronto, is right in the crosshairs of lake-effect snow bands rolling off Georgian Bay, making it one of the snowiest cities in Ontario. If you are heading up to the ski hills around Collingwood and Blue Mountain, expect plenty of fresh powder but challenging driving. London in southwestern Ontario sits in the snow belt and gets hit with substantial accumulations, and Niagara Falls benefits from the moderating influence of both Great Lakes, with daytime highs around 2 degrees, but that famous mist freezes on every surface, creating an otherworldly ice landscape. Montreal, daytime highs around -3 degrees, overnight lows around -11. The underground city, that massive tunnel network connecting shopping centers, metro stations, and office towers, becomes a lifeline for hundreds of thousands of people every single day. But here's what worries me. The forecast pattern favors nor'easters tracking up the eastern seaboard, and Montreal is directly in their path. The odds of a major snowstorm hitting Montreal from mid to late February are significantly elevated. The city's legendary snow clearing operation runs around the clock, but even Montreal can get buried when a big one hits. Quebec City, a step colder than Montreal. Daytime highs around -5 degrees, overnight lows dropping to -15. Snow blankets the heritage rooftops of the old city, piles up against the fortification walls, clings to the turrets of the Chateau Frontenac. There is something undeniably magical about this city in winter, even when it is brutally cold. Atlantic Canada. This is where things get wild. Halifax. Daytime highs around 0 degrees, overnight lows around -6. But what makes Halifax so unpredictable is the constant battle between cold continental air and warmer Atlantic air. Rain, sleet, freezing rain, and snow, sometimes all in the same day. Freezing rain is the one to watch. It coats roads, sidewalks, and power lines in a glaze of ice. Nova Scotia power crews are on standby throughout mid-February because ice storms can knock out electricity to tens of thousands of customers. St. John's, Newfoundland. Famously one of the snowiest, windiest, and wettest cities in all of Canada. A February nor'easter can dump 30 to 50 centimeters of snow in a single event, with hurricane-force wind gusts creating drifts taller than a person. The storm peak for Atlantic Canada runs from around February 15th through the 25th, and we cannot forget Canada's north. Whitehorse in the Yukon, daytime highs around -10 to -15 degrees, overnights -20 to -25. Yellowknife in the Northwest Territories, even harsher, daytime -15 to -20, overnights plunging to -30 to -35. Iqaluit in Nunavut, temperatures routinely sitting between -25 and -35, with wind chills hitting -45 to -50 degrees. At those levels, exposed skin freezes in under 2 minutes. But here is the most beautiful thing about the North right now. Mid-February, with its long, clear, dark nights, is one of the best times of the entire year to see the Northern Lights. Curtains of green, purple, and pink dancing across the sky. If you ever get the chance to see it, do it. It is absolutely breathtaking. Now here is the big picture on snowfall. Across Canada, February typically sees about 20 days with snow and an average total of around 37 centimeters. But given this year's conditions, actual totals could well exceed those averages, particularly in eastern Canada. On the prairies, the relentless wind redistributes whatever falls, creating blizzard conditions even when no new snow is coming down. Now here is the big picture on daylight. The days are getting longer, noticeably, measurably longer. Toronto is gaining 2 to 3 minutes of daylight every single day. By the end of February, the city will have over an hour and 15 minutes more daylight than at the start of the month. Calgary gains nearly an hour and 40 minutes over the course of February. The sun is climbing higher. On clear days, you can feel its warmth, even when the thermometer says otherwise. The first whispers of spring are already there if you know where to look. March is just around the corner, and the long-range outlook suggests it will be a transitional month. Milder air will start pushing in from the west. The battle between winter and spring will gradually shift northward. We are not there yet, but we are getting closer every single day. Here is what I need you to do right now. Comment your city below. I will give you your specific forecast. Share this with someone you care about who needs to prepare. And make sure you are following, because in my next video, I am breaking down the late February to early March transition, and there is a surprise warming pattern developing that could flip the script on this entire winter. You do not want to miss that one. Canadian winters are tough, but so are Canadians. Stay warm, stay safe, and I will see you